I want to talk a little bit about open source. We serve a very large ecosystem of telecom carriers, their suppliers, other companies that help build this global interconnected, network of on-demand services. And the industry is looking very closely at open source software and open source hardware for a number of reasons. For one thing, it shares development costs in a way that gives everyone access to the same code base at the end, so that they have a greater guarantee or assurance, at least, of interoperability and common behavior. The software skills required to build some of these large products, I would say, are not ones you can find in a single company. And so it's better if you have multiple companies contributing. And when you do it in an open source way, everyone can see what goes in and everyone can take what comes out. It's especially efficient for finding security flaws and fixing them rapidly, and so it's one of the most secure ways of developing software. The challenge with open source software, of course, is that it has to be supported, and most telecom operators don't have massive software skill bases and huge armies of programmers to do that. So they've traditionally used vendors to support all of the products that they deploy in their networks. With open source, it's lots of people contributing, from big companies, small companies, individual contributors. And you can't exactly go to the GitHub repository, press install, and run your network. So you need to have some support and service of a product based on open source. And so open source has become a core technology inside a number of vendor products, and this is probably a pretty good trajectory for the industry to adopt. Now in MEF, we recognize the value of open source as a rapid proving ground for ideas large and small. So what we do is build a larger framework that incorporates components that could be built with open source or closed source software elements and components. We integrate them, we show how you can create end-to-end services with them, and we define APIs that we instantiate, we being our members, of course, in open source software. So we really actually release SDKs, software development kits, for the APIs that we are developing. So open source is a valuable tool. It's not the be-all and end-all, but it's one that the industry is making, I think, wise investments in, and we're helping to take these investments and these explorations and enable our members to turn them into lucrative, profitable, and business services.